This is a monument to one of the greatest technological triumphs in the history of mankind. And for those of us who witnessed what happened here at 9:32 on the morning of July the 16th, 1969, it's an object that brings back, as fresh as if it were yesterday, one of the most profoundly moving events of our lives. For it was from this tower that Apollo 11 lifted off on incandescent flame and thunder to carry man to the surface of the moon for the first time. An estimated 1,000 million people watched the moon landing. And what that landing involved still somehow staggers the imagination today. Because it involved launching from the Earth, which was spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and at the same time circling the sun at nearly 70,000 miles an hour, and launching from a point on Earth away from where the moon was, and then aiming at a point in space where the moon would be in 3 days' time. And then, after a journey of 240,000 miles, landing within 1.5 miles of the target point. Apollo is a supreme example of why technology is so often a double-edged weapon, because the navigational instruments developed to make a precision landing on the surface of the moon make child's play of the business of moving from one part of our planet to another. Those instruments are basically what takes your holiday jet to its destination virtually unaided. They also make it possible to launch an intercontinental ballistic missile carrying several atomic warheads, each one of which can be independently guided to within 100 yards of its target point. Now, what that means is that the underground missile sites of the other side are no longer safe. They will not survive attack so as to be used in retaliation afterwards. Now, the temptation, when you know that fact, is to launch your missiles first. The question is, will that happen? It's not a new problem. This is the second time in history that a major breakthrough in missile technology has fundamentally changed the situation. The last time, 600 years ago, the missile was a cannonball. And look what happened then. 15th century Europe was a place where hardly a day went by without somebody fighting somebody. But in those early years of the use of gunpowder, the cannon was more bang and smoke than real impact. Still, it frightened people enough. Then the armies devastating the countryside stopped firing stones and rubble and started using the new iron cannonballs. And life in places like this became very earnest. This is Aigues-Mortes in the south of France, built in marshland on the edge of the Mediterranean, and nothing much has ever happened here. As you can see, it's never been destroyed by cannon fire, which is why it serves as a perfect example of why most of the other places like it were. It's one of the most untouched examples of a pre-cannonball medieval fortification, and it's also quite beautiful.